Okay, here's my shot at a Grim Guardian deck. I love the effect on this card. Make sure you tell me in the comments what I got wrong with the deck because I really do genuinely want to make these better. Grim Guardian is a 1/4 enchantment zombie that drains our opponents for 1 life every time it or another enchantment enters the battlefield. And I kid you not, all but 8 cards in the main deck are enchantments, so you'll know this will go off constantly. 4 of these, of course. To go opposite of that, Wicked Visitor says almost that, but it's whenever an enchantment we control goes to the graveyard, our opponents will drain 1. 4 copies of this make sure that this happens at least a little bit, especially when our things die. Warehouse Tabby is also great. When our enchantments go to the graveyard, it'll make us those 1/1 Eldraine rats that they can't block, but who cares? Extra creatures. Oh yeah, and we can give it Death Touch if need be. 4 of these. Speaking of things dying, 4 copies of Demonic Vigor make this thing not happen for a turn. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and when it dies, we'll just return it to our hand instead, triggering more of the stuff along the way. Now, just in case something does end up going to the graveyard, I've added 2 copies of Omen of the Dead. For 1 black mana at instant speed, we can return a creature card from our graveyard to our hand. That triggers Grim Guardian, and then the second ability of sacking and scrying triggers the Wicked Visitors and Tabbies as well. Value all around. For a small combat bonus and Death Touch, we can use 1 of 4 copies of Baleful Eidolon for Bestow or just have it out. More enchantment creatures is great, and I love the Bestow thing when the creature falls off. It's like you've got Yoda riding on your back or something. You know me, I really like card draw, so 4 copies of Infernal Scarring draws us a card when the enchanted creature dies. It also grants a +2/+0 combat bonus. Attach this one to one of the rats from earlier and it'll just be golden. Casting of Bones might seem odd, but it's similar to Infernal Scarring in a way. When the enchanted creature dies, we'll draw 3 cards and discard 1. That's awesome in my opinion. Again, attached to a rat or a creature we know will die soon. Here's another one I really like. Hopeless Nightmare. 1 black mana will force our opponents to discard a card and lose 2 life, and it also sacrifices itself and scries 2 when it goes to the graveyard. What's not to like? I added 4 copies of this because of how actually strong and fast it is. 4 copies of Binding Agony is just fun. It's like reverse lifelink in a way. When the creature is damaged, it deals that much damage to its controller, so even if the creature is dealt 1 damage from one of the rats from earlier and doesn't die, it still deals that damage to our opponent. It's pretty neat. Lastly, for the main board is just 1 copy of Brink of Disaster. It's not too fast, but it can keep our opponents from using a mana dork or a land more than once. Kind of a fun hate card. Now, lands for the deck go as follows. 19 Swamps, 2 Barren Moors, because you know I love the cycling, and 2 Bojuka Bogs for them other graveyard decks. Hopping over to the sideboard, there are 2 copies of Arms of Hadar, just keeping wide decks at bay if need be. 2 Contaminated Grounds to be a little aggressive. Turning our opponent's other types of lands into swamps can throw them off, and even if they do use it, they'll just lose 2 life. Win-win for us. I have like 30 of these in various arts in real life, but Dead Weight is actually quite nice here. It checks the enchantment box, the cheap box, as well as the pseudo shock box. Make things smaller and just kill mana dorks. Fear. Where the ability came from? Well, it gives the enchanted creature fear, of course. It won't be able to be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures, and of course on the sideboard because we may be playing against artifact or black decks. Same here, Grave Peril kills a non-black creature when that creature enters. It just kind of looms above our opponent's head until they play a creature, to play it or not to play it. 4 of these. Now it's your turn. Make sure you comment below on what I got wrong and what I got right. What would you add and what would you get rid of? I like the feedback. It really helps me become a better deck builder. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss your weekly dose of magic.